10th of January, the year 2019. Like I promised a little earlier, we do have a very special guest on Chandbak today. We have the president of the United Party for National Development, UPND, that's Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Welcome back to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you. And
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you, and your colleagues in the station. Happy New Year to the people of Zambia.
Beautiful. All right, now we into the new year 2019, and there are quite a number of aspects that have happened in 2018. Now, as we look at 2019 from a general perspective, I would want us to look back at 2018, albeit briefly. How would you describe the previous year from every aspect in terms of what so many aspects that had to do with national interest are concerned? But as you answer that question, would like to also make mention that we are live on Prime Television via their Facebook link. So those of you that are listening to us via radio can also catch the president of the UPND on Prime Television via the Facebook link. Mr. President, 2018, how would you describe it for Zambia?
Thank you very much. I must really express my delight for being on this program after some time. But 2018 was a very difficult year for the people of Zambia, for people across societal spectrum. You can talk about farmers, very difficult year for them. I mean, they have not been paid for their crop in the last season, a number of them. I think we've seen the clips on television indicating that they've not been paid. The cost of farming was very, very high in that period. So most of the farmers are in distress into this year because of the problems they experienced in 2018. We can go to an average worker. Their incomes have not or did not increase in 2018 in comparison to the cost of living, because the cost of living was very high, and it will continue being so into 2019. So if you look at the household, Munganda, in 2018, a household bought less food for the same amount of money they had in 2017. In economic terms, we are saying their incomes, their disposable incomes may have remained the same in quantity, nominal quantity, what you see on top, but in terms of what it can buy, it bought less in 2018. It means they had less food in the house. It means that they could not afford to send their children to school, as they did in 2017. It also means that they are unable to afford a Panadol when they have a headache. That's what it meant in 2018. You can go to a worker who was employed in 2017, a number of them lost jobs in 2018. The figures are there. You can't argue with the facts are there. You can also say a young guy who thought they would complete school in 2018, some of them were not able to write their exams because they did not afford exam fee. We've seen and heard these stories all over. Let's move to a young guy who completed school. A young guy who completed school in 2017 could not get a job in 2018. You are aware of the saga of the teacher recruitment program. I think we're all aware of that. A teacher who expected, after graduating, I'm just giving an example of a teacher, to get a job in 2018, they were left out of the teacher recruitment program. It's a separate subject we'll talk about later on. Hopefully we'll find time. So they remain unemployed. They remained unemployed in 2018. It means they are poorer, they are desperate, they are depressed. This is a young person who was promised by the PF in 2011 that there will be more jobs, but they don't have a job. As I said, the family that was promised that they will have more money in their pockets. In 2011, after PF came into office, they have no money in their pockets. And therefore, their life is difficult. I've already talked about farmers. So now you have a situation where, away from household companies, let's talk about companies very, very briefly, because your question is loaded. Your question has everything in it. A company now has to pay more for its operations than they paid in 2017. I'm talking of 2018 when I say now, because we're analyzing 2018. It's past. How? Their electricity costs went up. Their fuel costs went up. The cost of everything increases. Let me touch, since you're not asking me questions, I love you allowing me to talk freely. One of the critical costs in a company and in an individual and a family is something called tax. They, in 2018, households, individuals, let's start, individuals, households, companies paid a heavier tax imposed by the PF. Not just to deal with the high cost of electricity and diesel, they now have to pay a higher tax. They have to pay for internet access. They have now an imposition or the effection of what you call withholding tax. Muzimaya alina nyumba, ni widow, amuna anatisiya, amama alina bana 8. Mbela chinyanja ka? Alina bana 8. Kanyumba kali mu Woodlands. Amama ganiza nzachita bwanji kuti bana badye mu nyumba, bana baende ku school. Aliyayi nichoke mu nyumba iyi. Mu Woodlands nike parenti ine nitenge kanyumba mu Kalingalinga. Since we're close to Kalingalinga here. What happens? She goes to a Kalingalinga, takes a family there, rents a house. Maybe the house in 2017, the rent was in Woodlands, 5,000 kwacha. She goes to a Kalingalinga house, she pays 2,000 kwacha. She has change of 3,000 kwacha. Ija change adiyesebana, ajitevonse, manje tenant wa Woodlands akamba nilibe ndalama neo, sininga lipile 5,000 kwacha. My own first problem, because I live in Dara. But the most important point I'm making here is that government ya PF inalukamba lower taxes, manje to impose and are enforcing the withholding tax muma rentals. So uja mkazi widow first akalibe kulipira apokendala mautalipire ukalingalinga first alipira withholding tax. Boma yatenga ndalama ya mzimayi alina bana 8 widow. Boma inauza mzimayi mu 2011 is that you will pay lower taxes, but it has increased her tax, which means she has now, instead of having 5,000 kwacha less 2,000, 3,000, batenga 1,000, 2,000 babo masala na 1,000 kwacha. So as that yes bwanji bana mukalingalinga. Bana bazaenda bwanji mu school. That's what happened in 2018. This is what the PF has done to our people, having lied to them about lower taxes. They've increased the tax burden, which is a cost to an individual, it's a cost to a family, it's a cost to business.
Okay.
Now, can I explain to you a little bit why this is wrong and why we will remove it ourselves, that withholding tax? We will remove it when we come in as UPND. Because mwamuna paja pomanga nyumba icha. Analipira pay as UN. First of all, alipira pay as UN. Alipira kare, tax government. Paid already. In going to buy materials to build a house, they paid another tax.
Value added tax.
VAT, value added tax. Second time. Po gula plotija, analipira ndalama. Every year, alipira ground rent. Muzibaka? Ni tax, ground rent. Every year, alipira council rates. Then now withholding tax. How many more times will people of Zambia pay tax to a government that is misusing the money through corruption. We'll come to that. So I can say more. This is what is happening. Workers have lost jobs, tax burden is high, electricity cost is up, fuel costs are up, more taxes. The country is in distress. As individuals, as households, as companies, we are all suffering together because of the bad leadership of the PF.
All right, let us move on to the second point. The second point has to do with dialogue. Towards the end of last year, there was a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel where it was rumored, until it was later confirmed, that you met with President Edgar Lungu. Bring us up to speed if you're convinced that political dialogue is yielding fruit at the end of the day. What is your comment on dialogue between the ruling PF and the United Party for National Development and other smaller political parties?
First, my brother, in a nutshell, we must agree as a country, as a people, that we are in distress. The country is in distress. We have so many challenges that are facing us. We can enumerate them. There are too many, but they are creating distortions in our society. Serious distortions. We have a breakdown in the rule of law. The laws are not respected, only if you are PF. For an average citizen, the law does not matter because it does not get respected in as far as you are concerned. There's abuse of human rights in our country. People cannot move freely, despite the constitutional provisions that people have the freedom to move as they wish. They can't assemble freely. They cannot speak as they wish. Journalists today get detained for exercising their right to report about what people say. They get arrested. They get tear gassed today. It means they've lost their freedom. Press freedom, freedom of expression. It is there. That's what's going on. Violence in our society is too much. Excessive. My colleague, provincial chairman here, welcome to the program, is wearing a UPND t-shirt. Walking out of here, he can be attacked for wearing a t-shirt. Choosing to wear a shirt is a freedom. An individual should choose what they wear. What we don't want them is to be naked. But he can be attacked. Maybe because of who he is, he can defend himself. But what about others? You are aware people have been attacked. Actually, people have been killed for wearing a party regalia. This is what's going on in a country that we thought we liberated ourselves. Way back. We have a situation where elections, which are supposed to be an opportunity to choose credible leaders freely, have become a source of conflict. They become a source of bloodshed. We can't continue pretending that there's nothing wrong in the country. There is everything wrong in the country. Civil servants, doctors, teachers are being retired in national interest. Men and women in uniform are being retired in national interest, even as young as 30 years old, because they don't belong to PF, because they were born in a certain part of Zambia, a choice they did not make. Discrimination. That's what we're experiencing. Those in diplomatic missions, including those that Mr. Sata left, they're being recalled, replaced by relatives and friends of those who are in PF. But yet the Zambians are entitled to having those jobs. That's what's going on in our country. It's mayhem. So, in order to deal with all these issues, I must remember to touch, so many people are in detention today for crimes they did not commit. For political reasons, we have political detainees, we have those in prisons, those in detention have not seen court, a day in court, some are on the run. In a Christian nation, honestly speaking, we cannot have that. We cannot have, so we agree that there's disorder, there's disharmony in our country. Therefore, we need dialogue in order to bring back normalcy in our country. That was your question. Dialogue is essential. So if we have problems in our country, which we can't deny anymore, how do we deal with them? Do we kill each other? No, that's uncivilized. We need to talk to each other. So therefore, dialogue is essential. Yes, I met Mr. Lungu, and we talked about many issues. I've said it in the past. The meeting was polite. The meeting was very, very frank, very direct, to discuss the challenges that the country is going through. I will not disclose the details other than saying the outcome of the meeting was that the country was distressed, as I've explained. We needed to dialogue to each other, and therefore dialogue was essential, number one. Number two, the dialogue must be led by the church mother bodies. And there should be no confusion about that. I don't understand why ZCID continues to create problems. Maybe it's really a disruptive mentality that they're having. We agreed in that meeting that dialogue must be led by the church mother bodies. Number three, we agreed that dialogue must start now so that we can bring normalcy back to our country. So, three things I've said. Dialogue was, the country was in distress. Dialogue was essential. Number two. Number three, that the church mother bodies must lead a dialogue. So we must get on with it. And amongst the things that we need to do in the dialogue process is, one, to restore the rule of law. To have a judiciary that is performing in accordance to the expectations of those that created the judiciary, those that own the judiciary. Who owns the judiciary? It's the people of Zambia. It's not an individual in government or outside. It's the people of Zambia. So the judiciary must answer to the needs of the people of Zambia and dispense fair justice. Delivery of timely, fair justice is what we need to restore in our country. The criminal justice system must not arrest citizens before any investigations and keep them in jails for crimes that they did not commit. People die in those jails. I'm from those jails. I'm aware people die, including innocent people. But even those who are guilty should not die. Conditions are very bad in there. We need to improve them. It's a subject for another day. Number two, we need to restore human rights, liberties, and freedoms to give our people freedom. The Public Order Act must not be abused. Number three, we need to end violence in our communities. Number four, my friend, we need an independent electoral commission to choose truly capable visionary leaders. The problems you asked me about 2018 have everything to do with poor leadership. When there will be proper leadership in this country, which we believe the UPND brings to the table, you running Christian Voice, you will see the difference. You will see how positive the impact will be to your own operations. So we need a truly independent electoral commission. We can't have an electoral commission that announces wrong results, that creates an opportunity for violence during elections. No. So, number five, my friend, we need to bring equity in our country. All citizens must be treated equally, fairly in our country. So, that is what needs to be done, and we must commence without any dialogue, without any further delay, because citizens are hurting. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our third point, Mr. President. Now let's take an economic slant to the discussion. All right, now one of the strong aspects of the 2019 national budget was the taxation in the mining sector. All right, there was a slight change in the taxation concerning the mining sector, and that created a cacophony among miners, and they're up in arms and they're infuriated. There's a furore, so to say. I want to get your opinion. All right, are the concerns raised by mines valid on the new mining tax regime that has been introduced in the 2019 budget?
I think very, very happy that you brought us to the economic issues that will lead us to social issues, which will take us where we started in terms of the welfare of the people, because that's how it works. The economy, the social issues, then the livelihoods of people. That's a connection. So now, I want to start by making a clear indication here. Kuti vantu vari kumva ku radio station iyi, ku television, vamvesese bwino bwino. Taxation is not affecting mining companies only. The tax changes that were made by the PF government wrongly, I say so from the beginning, do not affect mining companies only. Timbesese Mazambians, because this is the impression being created by the PF. The mining sector does not operate in isolation. The mining sector has suppliers of goods and services. Companies owned by your cousin, your nephew, your uncle, Zambian citizens, because your cousin may be supplying or running a canteen in the mining sector. The taxation measures that have been applied affects the canteen operator, a subcontractor. It affects a supplier of explosives in the mine. It affects the one who goes underground, what is called the mine development, down there, digging, blasting, who may be a Zambian company. It affects everybody. It affects so many other people, including individual employees. I wanted to make that point very clear so that we take out this mystery, this perception that this taxation affects mining companies only. It's business. Business is interwoven, intertwined. So it is true that the government of the PF has lost its plot on the taxation. They have given Zambians a poisonous chalice of a gift of a high tax burden in 2019. 2018 for 2019. Now, the implication of this, you move from VAT to sales tax. We've already argued this point that sales tax is an inefficient tax. It has a compound effect. It has what we call in our professional language, tax on tax on tax effect. It's not even double taxation. It's triple. If not, it's quad taxation, quadruple the taxation. You cannot run a country like that. Yet you promise lower taxes, but you are increasing the tax burden. So the sales tax, the return from VAT, the return to sales tax from VAT is fundamentally wrong. And it's going to affect mines, it's going to affect mine suppliers, it's going to affect everybody, including you. Because you will now pay more tax because of the compounding effect of sales tax. And the difficulty is to calculate it. VAT is far much easier to calculate. It's a consumption tax at the point of purchase activity. That's when you pay it. But sales tax, you pay it within the production process, you pay it all over. Already you are overtaxed. So 2019, my friend, there will be harder times. I'm sorry to say so, because it's a fact. From the vantage point of knowledge, I can confirm here in this studio today, you Zambians out there will face more difficulties. Your lives will be more difficult. So don't focus on the mines alone. So that's the sales tax versus VAT issue. We have already recommended ourselves that as UPND, our measure will be to revert to VAT, and then we'll reduce the VAT rate from 16%, 15%, down to around 10%. That's what we're going to do. And you will see that the cost of goods arising from taxes will come down. And when it comes down, it means your cost of living comes down as well. That's what you hear me every now and then singing, that we will lower the cost of doing business, we'll lower the cost of living. This is one measure. So, the next issue, you are aware of the VAT refund, what was called VAT Rule 18. I don't have to bother people with technicalities, but just focus on the impact. So many businesses are owed so much money by the PF arising from the abuse, again, no respect for the rule of law, abuse of the PF on the laws. Mind you, that VAT Rule 18 was a law that was brought about by the PF themselves, not anyone else. Then they collected money from mines, from companies, because a lot of people make a mistake. They think that it's only the mines that are on my VAT refund. No, it is many people, many companies. They all, the companies, as PF, close to $1 billion. One company alone is owed $400 million. I shall not mention that company because they may get a sting, a sting. Now, you collect money from individuals based on the law you put in place, VAT Rule 18. The companies pay, advance you the money, you collect the money, you spend it in by-elections, you spend it in flying around in different countries. Every day you are in the air. You're using people's money. Then when the companies fulfill their obligations, they now discharge the documentation. They say, okay, refund us our money. They say, no, you wait. Where is the money? It has been eaten. It has been spent in traveling. It has been spent in corruption, in by-elections. What have you done? First, you have not respected the rule of law. You have not respected the VAT Rule 18, which you put in place yourself. And you blame others like they're the ones who put it in place. It is you as a PF. Secondly, you have taken away that money from the owners. You basically, in a simple language, you've stolen it as PF, politicians and those that they work with. Then you refuse to pay it back. Then it means the company has no money now to operate. What have you done? You are now going to force the companies to declare workers redundant. When workers are redundant, they've lost jobs, as I said in 2018, it is because of the PF's poor policies, including the non-refund of VAT, that has caused workers to lose jobs. As we stand now, we have companies, including mines, that will, in Solwezi alone, maybe 2,500 employees will lose jobs. The cost is huge. So I'm talking of individual citizens. So yet earlier there's a perception that it's the mining company. 2,500 will lose jobs because of the high taxes, the VAT refund saga, the increase in the cost of electricity, the increase in the cost of fuel, and several other negative measures. Some of them, many of them connected to tax increases. In KCM, on a copper belt in Chingora, the PF introduced a 5% duty on concentrates. Vashimanyi nga mule umfa. Bakopala. Ewalengela ati, you lose jobs. You are PF. By introducing these taxes, it means now the KCM plants, which are processing concentrates from Congo, which was a very good idea, so that we take concentrates from Congo, process them in this country, add value in this country, improve our revenue, and increase our jobs. Now, mukaluse nchito. The party that is making you lose jobs, niba PF. Takuli bambi, ba PF epela. Now, when you lose a job as Lashmine, as a contractor, as employee, you must blame the PF because of their poor policies. So, my brother, these are the issues. Now, we will, as UPND, to correct this situation, we are going to reduce the tax burden. We will remove the 5% import duty on concentrates. As I said earlier, we will revert to the VAT at a lower rate, around 10%, and then we'll be able to reduce the cost of tax and other related costs, as I've explained. What will be the effect of this is to preserve the jobs that are there. It's our interest, number one. Because the country is not creating jobs. So the jobs that are there, it will be the UPND duty to protect these jobs. And by taking this measure, we will be saving those jobs. Number two, we will reduce the cost of doing business, cost of living, reduce the cost of electricity, reduce the cost of fuel. By doing this, we are going to lower the cost of doing business. We are going to make a household. Remember what I said at the beginning when you asked me the question, is how was 2018? It means now, even the goods, the prices of goods and services will come down, and households, families can buy more goods for the same amount of money they have. That's what the impact of the UPND policy will be. Number three, we'll be able to bring more investments. By bringing more investments, we will create more jobs. By creating more jobs, we will be able to support even the poorer members of society by generating revenue from increased economic activity, increased jobs, fair tax, more revenue. Then we can send our children who are orphaned and from poor families to school.
All right.
And we can get them jobs when they complete school. That is the difference we bring to the table as UPND. And that's what Zambians must pay particular attention to.
Okay. All right. We're going to have a breather for about 3-4 minutes, and then we're going to come back into the second hour, right after news at the top of the hour, as we continue interacting. So keep your comments coming through via 0960-200-490. That's 0960-200-490. I have with me the UPND leader, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and please bring forward your questions, comments, suggestions, and discursive points for feedback right on the program. So join us in a teeny tiny bit on the other side when we return, interacting right on Chartback on Radio Christian Voice.
In today's fast world, it's easy to feel burnt out. People lack the energy to get through their daily responsibilities. That's why you need Kung Fu Energy Drink as a means of extra fuel. Kung Fu Energy gives you that extra boost to overcome the last hurdles of the day. It sharpens alertness and boosts one's energy in times of need. It pushes physical efforts to the extreme and helps you work harder for longer. Kung Fu Energy is the better tasting, fast-acting, high-impact energy drink that gives you an energy boost that lasts for hours.
Under corruption, we'll talk about it. And are you playing segment?
Find out with the marketing guy.
Kung Fu Energy Drink. Master the power.
See if we actually do it. So, taxation, debt, and corruption.
More things as I covered. I think we need to cover debt, we need to cover corruption.
Okay.
You mean 1 hour is gone already?
Yes, gone already. Gone already. So I'll make sure we cover ground on the street before I accept the call, probably at about 10:30.
Yeah, we'll do it quick.
Okay, no problem. 11 hours.
Oh, no, 11 2 hours.
Not 11 hours, because from 11 to 13, another program starts.
Oh, no, you told me 11 days. So it's 1 hour, 10 minutes.
It used to start in 9 hours.
Yes, 9. Yeah, maybe the setting up equipment or is not probably at the. But we'll see how we can have everything covered. The 1 hour. From 9 to. It's supposed to be 9 to 11 hours.
The job is to check this thing that you think we have to cover.
And the corruption is where you can continue the issues of this is where corruption is going to that should come up.
Under the 2018-2019 National Malaria
And
Campaign.
yet, your own civil servants are leaving
Because
their
government
their
was
salary has not
called
been
for
increased from the
reconciliation.
time of
Day
Michael
after
Sata.
former President Laurent Gbagbo was acquitted of war crimes charges by the International Criminal Court (ICC) in the Hague. Communication Minister Sido Taure told reporters after cabinet meeting that the government urges calm, forgiveness, and reconciliation. And Turkish media
They were
report that
sent
Turkish
from all of them.
issued
I
an
can't
international
believe
arrest
it. My
warrant for
children were
New York
shocked.
Knicks basketball player in Ms. Kanta. They reportedly accused Mr. Kanta, a 26-year-old at the NDA club, of having links with armed groups said to be behind the 2016 failed coup. We have more news coming up at the top of the hour.
Handing the mission from generation to generation.
Our mission is the Great Commission.
To introduce people to Jesus.
2 minutes. True followers of God.
2 minutes?
Yes, 2 minutes. We want to make sure we maximize the time.
Yes.
This program contains views expressed by people. We value the contributions and the opinions matter to us. However, please note that the views expressed are not necessarily those of Radio Christian Voice. Radio Christian Voice, all about real life.
Welcome to Chatback.
Without much ado, we move on straight into the second hour for today's edition of Chatback. It's 10:03 Central African Time. I have with me the UPND leader, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to help us look at pertinent national issues right through to 11 on this particular program. Send your comments. We'll be able to accept calls, albeit a little later, so you have to bear with us. But keep your comments coming through, and then you'll be able to answer them in no time. All right, we're picking up from where we left off, Mr. President, in the first hour. We're looking at the taxation in the 2019 budget. You explained quite in detail sales tax versus value-added tax. All right, now, generally speaking, we're still on taxation. Generally speaking, other than that tax in the 2019 budget, which other tax do you believe you probably would want to have a comment on in relation to Zambians being made to pay taxes, as you're actually putting it? But I should also hasten to mention that over the years, there's been this notion that the corporate world is taxed at the expense of the other sector of the economy that could usually be taxed to increase revenue for government. Why not extend the tax burden, the tax dragnet? That's from the point of ZRA, to kind of lessen the burden of taxation on the very few individuals that are taxed.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point to argue that the tax burden must be spread fairly, equitably across individual. You know, tax is it's a level of individual, mainly pay as you earn. Obviously, you have the taxes that I talked about earlier on ground rent, on ground rates, right? Rents, not ground rates. Ground rents, rates. All those are taxes that individuals do pay, but some of them the companies pay as well. And it's fair to say that the tax burden must be shared equitably across the spectrum at the individual level. Also, at the company level, the tax must be equitably, shared in terms of collection between different types of company sectors, agriculture, mining, manufacturing. There must be equity in the tax collection. I totally agree with that principle. But what I do not agree, what we in the UPND do not agree, is overtaxing either individuals or companies, or indeed any other form of tax. It is a rule of thumb. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be an economist, a finance specialist to understand that if you increase the tax burden, you are going to kill the economy. You are going to kill jobs. There will be less jobs. You are going to kill household welfare. Ultimately, you will increase poverty. You will increase unemployment. You will damage the economy. That we don't agree. And that's what PF has done. Having lied to us that they will reduce the taxes, but they've done the opposite. It's for the people of Zambia to open their eyes. Vane, twisuka menso, tivule manso, tiwone, pamene vili kuchitika manje. So that as UPND and for me as HH, again sitting from the vantage point of knowledge and experience, it is damaging. Winston Churchill, one of Britain's great prime ministers, said tax and expecting development in an economy is like you jump in a bucket, you as a human being jump in a bucket, and then you are sitting in a bucket and you hold the bucket and you're trying to lift it. You can't lift the bucket because the weight that you put inside the bucket there is too heavy to allow you to lift the bucket. What he meant is that if you overtax individuals, and we cannot argue anymore, we used to argue before, after 2011, lower taxes, now it's higher taxes. More money in your pocket, now it's less money in the pocket. More jobs, now it's no jobs. No arguments. So, for us as UPND, our mindset is now to say to the people of Zambia, let us work together. Let us work together around UPND and other colleagues. For example, we have an alliance group of parties that agree on basic principles that affect our country. Let's work together beyond the 10 alliance members, civil society, unions, ordinary citizens, to lift the country out of this damage PF has created. In the taxation area, the pay as UN is too high. We in UPND will reduce it. And together with other like-minded parties and organizations in this country, alliance partners, as I've explained already, we will reduce the pay as UN. It's too high. The withholding tax on rentals, we will remove it so that we can leave more money into the households of that widow I explained, remember, about. So she can now look after her children. We will remove that. We will revert to VAT, we talked about it, from sales tax and reduce the rate. So that we bring what you have already asked, the issue of fairness in the tax collection. It starts with the rates coming down. But what else are we going to do? To deal with what you have said, the distortions that maybe some sectors are paying more, like individual level, than companies. We will look into that matter. We've already looked at that matter. By the way, we in the UPND are already ahead. We are ready to take over the country. We are already ahead. Our planning is far ahead. That's why you see me answering your questions very clearly and quickly, because we are clear in our minds, in our vision, what needs to be done in order to lift the country out of this poverty that you experience and the PF has brought us into. So we will look at the taxation in various sectors. In the mining sector, we want them to pay a fair tax. They must contribute a fair tax, and we know how to do it. Even the mining companies, my brother, they talk to us. They even say, HH, we're waiting for you to come. We will pay the tax, which you will introduce, because we know it's a fair tax. And we'll pay. And we'll even invest more money. In agriculture, we want to look at it. In manufacturing, we'll look at it, so that there's a fair contribution towards the tax envelope. And that, once we collect it, we will use it properly. This is the disease in PF. There's overtaxation, they want more money, but when they collect that money, they are not using it properly. Where are they using it? Hopefully we'll talk about it. Debt service. Where else? Kulipira Nkongole ka? Kongole hizo, vanazidya. Sina sebenzele Zambia, vanazidya because of corruption. I hope we'll talk about these two issues, debt and corruption, because they go together in affecting the livelihoods of people. What else are we going to do, my friend? We will remove the boho tax. We'll check it out. We will do what Botswana does. And that's why in Botswana, government is serious there. Here, there's no seriousness. In Botswana, because to sink a borehole, because that's a semi-desert area, in most of Botswana, to get water through a borehole, you have to go 300 meters now. So what Botswana has done to encourage farming, to encourage crop production, cattle, they actually give incentives to farmers to sink boreholes. so that they can produce more food. Have you seen the difference? Nzeru za siya na hapo. Manje hapo ise bayo pentapara na nzeru za Botswana. We will actually give incentives to people to dig a borehole, and what the government of UPND will be doing is to assist, provide a service to test the water for free, to make sure that the water is safe for drinking, so that people don't suffer from diseases. We will remove the heavy road taxes, too much high road taxes. Right now, people are queuing at Ratsa there, and there's corruption there, because the way the tax is being collected, first is too high, we'll reduce it. Two, we ourselves will reduce, we'll make it easy to pay. Number three, if you like other taxes, the toll fees. These road tolls are too many. You move from here, going to Ndola, there are so many road tolls. You go once, twice, you pay a higher fuel cost, you have no money left in your pocket, so to say. Crop levy, we will remove it. We are different, my friend, in UPN. We think differently. Instead of charging a levy on the crop, we will actually lower the cost of inputs, fertilizer and seed. Mbeu and fertilizer. We are going to lower it. Mufundo, including plows. By doing that, we will be able to encourage farming. Instead, the money that is collected on the crop levy now is so little. When we increase production by delivering fertilizer, mufundo, and seed, mbeu at a lower price, plows at a lower price, we will produce more. When we produce more, we will get more money from there than the crop levy. That's the difference, and the economy will grow. And also the farmers will become viable. Let me give you an example of something we will damage or remove immediately. I read in the newspapers every other day that the Zambian government has caught smugglers at Kasumbalesa smuggling meal. Why would you catch people coming to give you business? Why would you call smugglers and criminalize them and call them whatever names? We in the UPND will produce more chimanga, more maize, amatawa, mapopwe. We will grind the maize here. We will put shops in the border posts and allow the Congolese. Iseni mushite ubunga. Iseni. Tuabi kanaka banki pariapene. This kado, walipila, you get a receipt. This door, you collect your melemele. We will produce enough meal to feed the Congo, having fed Zambians at a lower cost of money, because that is what we see the opportunity which PF does not see in agriculture, to produce more. And you cannot do that and create a crop levy. Internet charge. No, we want more of our children and us to use internet. Therefore, we lower the cost of internet by reducing the internet charges. The fuel, electricity I've already talked about. That menu, my brother, which I've given you, unlike what PF said to you they will do, and you bought the bite, you took the bite, so to say, we mean business, we are real. We will lower these taxes, we will produce more, we will sell more, and by doing that, we'll be able to grow the economy, we'll create more jobs, we'll create more business opportunities. That is what UPND intends to do and will do for the people of Zambia, and that's why it's time to support UPND now.
All right, let's move on to the next thematic area.
Yes.
Let's talk about debt.
Yes.
If you look at the 2019 budget, well, I stand
Yes.
to be corrected. About
Yes.
43% of the 2019 budget goes to debt servicing. I would want to get your comment to that effect. What repercussion is that going to have to the living conditions of an ordinary Zambian?
Grave. Grave repercussions. The PF's debt mountain, the debt mountain they've created, is unfortunate. When I reach that subject, I really feel so bad, because we had the debt relief not long ago. Not long ago. Now we are back to a debt burden. After HIPIC, citizens paid a lot, sacrificed a lot. Salaries were not increased because of they need to qualify for HIPIC. We qualified for HIPIC. The debt came to less than $1 billion, external debt. Now, within a few years, the PF has taken us into a debt war, where the debt, despite what they were arguing, external debt, domestic debt, if you say external debt, the domestic debt is 15 billion plus. When you add, based on the 2019 budget, which they discussed in 2018, that they're expecting a deficit financing. Let's use the technical language. Deficit financing means you are going to spend money you don't have. Ndala mamulibe, koma you are eating the money. Vachoka kuti. Vachoka kuli a neighbor. In this case, a neighbor, what? Foreigners. Mufuna kudya ndalama, mufuna usebenzesa ndalama zomwesi munapange. What sort of leader of the household would you be? You, my brother, you are spending money which you don't have. Then mwangena mukongole. So based on their own projection, they will deficit finance the 2019 budget to another tune of $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion plus $15 billion is $16.5 billion. You add the pipeline debt. Debt means it's not concluded yet. It's in the pipeline. Another billion, 17.5 billion. Mm-hmm. You add the non-VAT refund. Remember what I said, VAT refund? Mm-hmm. 900 plus million, 1 billion, 18.5 billion. Then you add debt which is not accounted for as national debt. What is it called? Quasi-government debt. What do I mean by that? Debt with ZNBC for Top Star, Star Times, digital migration, which should have cost 25-30 billion, is now costing 275 billion. 275 million. It should have cost only $30 million. It's costing $276 million. So that debt you add the debt on ZESCO. I won't say much about ZESCO because I have a day to talk about ZESCO. The corruption going on in ZESCO. We'll talk about it later. So you are talking about close to $19 billion of debt, which PF has brought onto us. What is the meaning of this to your life and the life of other people? One, you will have no money to spend on other things, as you saw in the budget, on education. Money which is supposed to be spent on education, it will go to debt service. Money which is supposed to be spent in health, it will go to debt service. Money which is supposed to be spent in fertilizer or mufundo, imbuto, to lower the cost of fertilizer, as we plan in UPND, will go to debt service. Money which is supposed to allow you to import necessary goods in this country, it will not be available, it will go to debt service. Money which is supposed to be used, if you like, to support small businesses, youth businesses, women businesses, it will go to kulipira nkongole. Ndalama zasirira kulipira nkongole. In the 2019 budget, the PF in its own projections, because in the Nikakamba, at the IAH, Ambakari Okamba Kamba, Vokamba Kamba. Kaida Akonda Masams. Manya Munga Kozekono, go Panda Masams. Chizankara Jipante Pantisha. Chizankara a situation of absence of vision, absence of Ichimonwa. So, $1.5 billion in 2019 will be spent on debt service. This amount has increased from 2018 from about $800 million to now $1.5 million kulipira Kongole, kulipira Kaloba. Manje Kaloba inaenda kuti. Yali ya kuisign lupia lwabombele mushani. Takuri, tapari. Valiri yaba nesu. Through corruption. I hope you will ask me the question on corruption, my brother. So, this is what debt has done to our country. It's taken away money meant for health, education, to send our children to school, money meant for other things. It is gone. They are buying jets, jets, presidential jet, $68 million. They are starting an airline. Airlines don't make money. South African Airlines is struggling. They don't make money. The Swiss Air was closed because Switzerland, which is one of the richest countries in the world, could not afford an airline because it's expensive. Here, that's when people want to start an airline. What does that mean? When we come in, we are going to restructure this debt, UPND. We are going to basically refinance it. We are going to stop borrowing recklessly. We are going to, whenever we borrow at a lower cost, not at a higher cost, higher interest rates, because they are borrowing Kaloba so that they can get commissions. They can get corruption money out of borrowing. If this money had come into the economy would have been growing. There would have been jobs created. It's not there. That's the difference UPND brings to the table. Very quickly, we are going to save money. We are going to, if you like, sell unnecessary assets. The first thing we are going to sell within a few months of being in office, DOIS, is a presidential jet. We are going to sell that jet, recover the $68 million. There is the money we are going to use to educate children from poor families, to buy medicines in hospitals, so that our mothers can deliver in a clinic, a maternity wing, which has all the facilities. We are going to buy to support agriculture from that money. We are going to invest that money in business support for small business, youth businesses. It is also better to use that money to pay retirement benefits, to pay salaries, better salaries for civil servants, men and women in uniform, the soldiers who are suffering, policemen who are being used to tear gas fellow citizens. We will look after them. And this is what we've been saying. We are not against public workers per se. We are against the PF with poor policies. We are not against public officers. We are against political officers of PF and the few that are benefiting. So in order to deliver, if you like, opportunities to all the people. So this is what we're going. So that jet, bring it in. A few years from now, we'll send it back. $68 million, my friend. You can send 30,000 students to college for 4 years. Many people like asking me, HH, ukamba vintu vambili. Manje ndalama vizachoka kuti. Ndalama vizachoka from these areas. So that is what we're going to. Can I also indicate to you now that, my friend, the poor leadership of PF has resulted in the external reserves, foreign exchange reserves. In 2016, they were $3 billion. In 2016 alone, for the viewers, hear me out, please. In 2016, the reserves, foreign exchange reserves in our country were sitting around $3 billion. Today, as I'm speaking in this studio, we have only about $1.6 billion of reserves. And compare this now. If you were to say you are not earning more foreign exchange, which you won't earn anyway, because the mine operations are going down, which are the main foreign exchange earners. It's clear. If you declare workers redundant, it means your production levels go down, it means you earn less money. So if you were to use your reserves to pay for the debt, your debt service is $1.5 billion. Your reserve is only $1.6 billion. So you can only pay your debt service for 1 year only. You're left with $100,000 only. You're bankrupt. PF has bankrupted this country. And this is what citizens must open their eyes to. You cannot run a country like this where you found reserves at $3 billion. They were $3 billion in 2016. Now it's $1.6 billion. And some of that money has gone to debt service. Some of that money, my brother, has gone to supporting the Kwacha. I've not talked about it. The foreign exchange. To keep the Kwacha at 11.8, 11.9, 12 Kwacha, the Bank of Zambia has to do what is called technically open market operations, which means taking money from reserves, putting it in the market to support a kwacha. You cannot sustain that because you don't have the production of goods and services to sustain that. So there's pressure from everywhere. That is the situation. We will correct it through the measures as UPND we have given. Thank you.
All right, now, before I get to read people's text messages, one more thematic area that I would want you to comment on.
Yes.
The fight against corruption. Now, I would like to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the fight against corruption in Zambia the last 5, if not 6 or 7 years?
It's 0. There is no fight against corruption. The question is why? The levels of corruption, number one, in PF are unprecedented. We've never seen corruption like this. I'm old enough to remember that there's no government in this country that has been as corrupt as the PF. This is the worst ever. Number two, there can't be a fight against corruption because if the PF put a serious fight against corruption, they'll be fighting themselves. Is it possible that they can fight themselves? The answer is no. That's why there's no fight against corruption. What is there is just symbolism. Kukamba kamba chabe pakamwa. There is no fight against corruption. I can assure you. The Anti-Corruption Commission is compromised. Not because it wants to be compromised, because it is being structured that way by the PF. The Financial Intelligence Center does the report. Nothing happens. Why? Because the political leaders in PF are sitting on corruption cases. The Auditor General does their report. Nothing happens. The corruption in roads, you know it. Sometimes I look at Chito Tela talk, I just shake my head. I say, this man, he thinks Zambians are buffoons. These PF officials are corrupt to the bone, and it's only a few of them who are benefiting. The rest are suffering. Any construction site you see now is PF officials or those connected to PF. No one else can afford because of corruption. You look at the ambulances. The story is already known. An ambulance that must cost $70,000 is costing $250,000. Eating. Fire tenders. A story is known. Lusaka-Ndora Highway, 300 kilometers must cost us a maximum of $400 million. That road is costing us $1.2 billion. So, where is the $800 million? It is taken through corruption. Buying homes in Dubai, buying homes in, we're here in Nairobi, Mombasa, buying even homes in Uganda. Why would you buy a home in Uganda? Honestly speaking, why not invest in a farm and produce food for the people of Zambia to help create jobs in Zambia? Why? Kiskamang. Fish village tika. My brother, everything in this country is now corruption, corruption, corruption. There is no political will to fight corruption. That scale of 1 to 10, I put it to 0 to 10, it is 0. There's nothing because they are just covering themselves. That is what is happening at the moment, right? How can you build a shed, a toll gate in Ndola, Kafulafuta? You build a toll gate in Kafulafuta, and you say it costs $4.3 million. That toll gate at maximum must cost $200,000. So it means $4.2 million was stolen from that. Okay. I'm a farmer. I build sheds on my farm. That's just a shed there. There's nothing with a little office on the side, with some toilets on the other side, and a bit of heavy concrete on it. Just a shelter. It should cost at maximum $200,000. So who has taken $4.1 million? Where have they taken it? Nabaliamo. Nabaliamo. MP abalebo mfyokukula mayanda. They've never worked. They've never run businesses. Today, they live in a different Zambia when the rest of us are suffering. Why? Now, here is what UPND is going to do to deal with corruption. Number one, we will have a zero tolerance on corruption. Zero tolerance on corruption. Number two, we will change the situation that the oversight institutions, we want to improve governance such that the oversight institutions, Auditor General, Anti-Corruption Commission, Financial Intelligence Center, and others will not work for an individual called the president. They will work for the people of Zambia through parliament, which means that when we say the oversight institutions, anti-corruption institutions work for the people, they don't work for the president, it means they will have legal autonomy, number one. Number two, they will have operational autonomy. But you can't have legal and operational autonomy without something, because it means you can't do your work. What is that something? They will have financial autonomy, which means every year, the Auditor General's budget, the Anti-Corruption Commission budget, the Financial Intelligence Commission budget, and other similar institutions will be granted to them via Parliament. Once Parliament decides that this is the amount based on the projection from these institutions, that money, the Minister of Finance has no power to stop it. It will be granted and paid to these institutions. What does that do? It allows them now to operate professionally and investigate these cases professionally. Then you have a chance of ending corruption. What else will we do? When the Auditor General produces a report, my brother, it will be presented to the President, to the Anti-Corruption Commission, to Parliament, and other relevant institutions, including the police, at the same time. That's a major change, at the same time. So that there's no way a politician in the name of a president can choose what the Anti-Corruption Commission will pursue. It will be the professional decision of the Anti-Corruption Commission to decide which case they will prosecute. They will work with the Director of Public Prosecutions directly without the interference of the president. The problem today is that the presidency is interfering to cover Friends and probably State House because of the corruption going on. But I want to say to you, the money that has been taken which belongs to Zambians will be returned to the people of Zambia. Full stop. Through our new measures.
Let me read the text messages coming through now. This one is coming through from Charles. Charles says, hello, Mr. HH. We're in trouble in Chawama. Many of us can't afford 3 meals a day. Most of us are unemployed. When you go to look for a job, they say, how much do you have? We can't afford to pay school fees. We are suffering. All right. Thank you, Charles, for that text message. Let me get on to read some more quite quickly before I have my guest respond. This one says, good morning, Mr. President. You are right. There are a lot of adult youths wandering in the streets of Zambia without jobs. Where can a nation like that go, especially now, where they look at surnames to see which province you come from? We have suffered at the hands of government. Concerned citizen within Lusaka. All right. Let me get on to another one. This one reads as follows. Okay, the number is 0960-200-490. This one says, my President HH, good morning. You have been a signal to people of Zambia because whatsoever you utter, it becomes reality. And this is from Obi Kanenge within Lusaka. Thank you, Obi, for that text message. All right, this one again reads, all right, for those of you that would want to send your WhatsApp messages, please, you can do that as well, and then I'll be able to get to you on the same number right on the program. Okay, so getting on to the next text message. I may not read all your text messages due to limited time, but I'll try to read as many as I can. All right, this one reads, are you going to work under any other person's leadership in your party? Okay, are you going to... Okay, I really can't make sense from your text message. Please resend it so that we can really get exactly what you're trying to put across. All right, this one is coming through from Paul in Kitwe. And Paul in Kitwe says, Mr. President, I am Paul Mulenga of Kitwe. The school fees for this year is going up than last year. We are failing to pay because the headmaster didn't want to pay in installment. Please, we need your help. All right, now, added on to the text messages, we did talk about the debt store.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Now, there were reports that did come through after there was a contingent that went to China
Yes.
alongside the president, all right, to meet the Chinese people, their Chinese counterpart. There was a report that came that there is cobalt that is being exported to China amounting to 400 million US dollars a week without the knowledge of governments. Now, what are some of what proposals would you have to help seal some of these loopholes in terms of revenue? Because some people expressed concern, one of which was the UPPZ president, Mr. Charles Chanda, that there's no way a country can be losing 400 million US dollars in cobalt exports without the knowledge of government. I would like to get your comments to that effect.
Yes. My brother, that is part of the corruption smell. That cannot happen under the UPND government because, first and foremost, we will not tolerate corruption. Simple, straight, from anyone, from the government, from politicians, from the private sector. We will not tolerate corruption at all. And I have already given you some of the measures where we will make the corruption fight institutions independent legally, operationally, financially. And then they will not be directed by anyone. They will actually apply their professional discretion in deciding on sealing those loopholes. When we put that framework in place, you will not find those things happening. They are happening now. Revenue or sales, exports are concealed because the PF politicians are involved and because they are getting cuts. They are getting a share of that. So when the UPND, and I'm saying to people in UPND, do not expect to do the things that PF is doing today and you think you'll be allowed. You will not, because that money belongs to the people of Zambia. That money belongs to children who are not in school. That money belongs to Paul Mulenga in Kitwe. Ba Mulenga wesu. Lupia lwenu baleria abanesu aba PF. Ifwe mukashimona mpia sheno. Fyakula atwala abana benu kuma schools. Ama school fees aya ni na mumulu. Tukawesha pansi. We will also be supporting children like yours, Bapomlek. Epela, this is what we have been pushing and speaking for the people of Zambia for all these years. It is to take care of Pomulenga's child and other people like him. That money being lost is too much. So we'll seal the loopholes through a proper and clear corruption fight. And also, at the top, the presidency will be making sure that it does not tolerate corruption. And that's it. My friend, I can also indicate to you, you've only talked about cobalt. I can tell you something else. Within China there, you remember there's this Mukula saga? The Chinese themselves said, we're importing more Mukula from Zambia than what the Zambian government indicated. I think the Zambian government indicated $4 million. But in China, the Mukula exports was close to $100 million. Why is that disparity? It's because abale fisolu pia wachalo. Amene bali kubisa ndalama zaziko ni ba PF. So it had to take the Chinese, they are friends, because these people are friends, to tell us that no, you have more sales from cobalt, you have more sales from Mukula, because here it is the PF hiding, and in return they get a share. We must seal these loopholes. The money belongs to the people of Zambia. Thank you.
Let me get 3 straight calls, considering we have little time coming through to the top of the hour. All right, our very first call on the program. We are through to Chadbak. Good morning, Dr. Proud.
Good morning, Proud. Thank you. Muli kumvera bwino bwino? tizabasunga bwino bauze banzanga ba taxi driver. Mm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Dr. Proud. Let me get two quick ones before I get your response. 0960-200-490. That's 0960-200-490. Enoch from Lumwana wants to find out, morning, Mr. President, following the interview attentively, how are you going to address the Public Order Act and Public of Information Act when you come into power? All right, thank you, Enoch, with that question. All right, let me get another call on 0960-200-490. That's 0960-200-490. All right, so here we go. You're through to Chatback.
Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Hansel.
Yes, yes.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Morning, sir. Thank you.
Oh, you are the thing which you are.
Sorry?
Kindly speak up, Hansel.
Okay, the things which you are saying there, they are loud and clear. Every minute Zambian, we are hearing. Starting from the first when you are just saying, you know, these are the challenges which we are facing. Because if you see even the business, to do business in Zambia now, it's a high and it's very difficult. Especially as people do business, you see even the business, even goods out, they have gone expensive, or even to bring, you go outside to order and bring, things have gone high. It's very even difficult, even the customers, they are complaining. You know, it's not your fault because the rate where you are getting it, the taxes, what, it's too much, and I don't know. You know, there's this which I was saying that every politician, because we used to hear even the PF also, when the MMP was in power, the things which they were putting in. But when they come in, I usually ask them this question: what comes in? What can you promise us if you come in power, indeed to be able to do things different? What is happening? Because these people also, they were in opposition. That's what they used to say also. But they are doing contract to what they used to do. And what is different with you? And which you come and do things different.
Okay.
Because we don't want, so that even Lorenzo, these people, you should be calling them back. Although even Mr. President, when you are there, if God gives you a chance to be there, come back so that we'll be able to talk to you. Just be just a steward to State House there so that we will not be able to tell you the challenges. Because those people there, when you are there, you can't see the challenges. Because you are well, everything is okay. So you you is to be free. You can't say the pressures, you can't see. But the people who are in the ground, those are the people who are going to. And because when you come into power, you are going to found this state. And
All right.
how are you going to
Okay.
control this state?
Hansel, thank you very much for coming through. Let me get one more call. All right. So there we are. We have two. Let me make it
Yes.
three before Mr. President
Yes,
can come
yes.
back. 0960-200-490. That's 0960-200-490. You're through to Chadback.
Yes, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Kindly give us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, talking to Brother Morgan within Osaka.
Please go ahead, Brother Morgan. You have about 2 minutes.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, the panel.
Good morning. It's only HH, sir, on the line, on the program.
Morgan? Okay, we seem to have actually lost him. How do you respond to
Yes.
the text messages and the calls so far?
Yes. Very, very quickly, let me start with the cause. I think Proud was expressing his views. People are walking to hospitals because of the high bus fares. The high bus fares are obtaining because of the high cost of fuel. We've already said we'll reduce the cost of fuel. That will help reduce the fares. Then people can be able to get on a minibus, get on a taxi to go to see the sick in hospital. Very, very important. That's part of what we say will lower the cost of living, cost of doing business. Lower the cost of fuel, it will help reduce the bus fares down. Today in this country, the fuel costs worldwide come down. In this country, the fuel costs increase. Can you see the distortions? The PF members of parliament just voted for the higher tax on fuel and electricity before they closed parliament. So who is punishing the people who are walking to hospitals to see the sick? It is the PF. So why would you support a party that makes you walk to the hospital because of its poor policies through increasing fuel? UPND is your party. It is the party that will lower the cost of fuel, and then you'll be able to afford a minibus. Enoch,
Yes, Enoch who says Public Order Act and
I'm with
Public
you.
of Information.
But Proud also talks about toll gates. I think we covered the toll gates already earlier. Now Enoch talked of how will you attend to Public Order Act? Very simple. The Public Order Act is subservient, meaning that is secondary to the Bill of Rights in the Constitution. The Bill of Rights entitles people freedoms, movement, assembly, association. So the Public Order Act should not stand in the way of the rights of people, the freedoms of people. And therefore, we will basically put it in line to respect the constitutional provisions of the freedoms. It's very simple. By the way, the Public Order Act was operating properly before PF came into office. It's only PF who are abusing it. So we will not abuse it. Hansel, things that HH is talking about are correct. I'm glad that people are listening. Sometimes we don't know whether people are listening, and if they are listening, are they hearing us? So it's good to hear from Hansel. Thank you very much, Hansel. You are right, business is down. The cost of doing business is too high. The customers can't buy your goods because they have no money. This is the reality on the ground. And that's why we're saying the PF project is gone, it's failed. Before we used to argue amongst ourselves as Zambians, no. PF will deliver, they will lower the taxes, they will create more jobs. Kulibe. Nabafirwa, abanesu. Bakangiwa. So, Hansel, you are right. Hansel said something very important. I want to respond to that. Politicians change. The PF were saying that they will do these things correctly, and when they came into office, they have become worse. What would HH do different? Right? He says this thing strictly and firmly clear. Here is the difference. Most of the people you see in PF who are controlling PF now, before they went into politics, they never ran any business. They never had any income to talk about. Many of them failed to run small to timber businesses. So they don't understand. So it's a question of first, lack of understanding. Number two, lack of experience. Number three, no commitment, no love for the people of Zambia. We are different. Lorenzo, voters must start checking who is aspiring for office. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What have they done for themselves? And I think that's what distinguishes us from those who are stealing from the people today. We started off by working for ourselves, by looking after our families, extended family, helping orphans in school. To date, we continue keeping children, orphan children in school as a family, because we believe in education. There's something we believe in. We believe in opportunity. A villager like me coming to Lusaka first time to go to school, to invest, on a public bursary, how can I forget the people where I'm coming from? How can I forget the people of Chambolichi Pulukoso, of Navutika compound in Chipati? How can I forget those people? I can't, because I come from them. And then, given an opportunity to go to school, getting a job, running my own business, we understand. I can assure you that the PF colleagues are mesmerized. They're just confused. They're sitting on this cash, they think it is theirs. It is not theirs. You learn the discipline that this money is not mine, it belongs to a company. This money is not mine, it belongs to a bank. This money I can't borrow because I cannot pay back. Those are disciplines that we have. They don't have those disciplines. And I'm appealing to the people of Zambia. You've now seen all this mess in PF. Do not question the failure of PF anymore. It's there for everybody to see. Come, let's work together. Let's help this country. Let's help the children. Let's help Mulenga's children. I want to add Charles Chawama. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, who says they can't afford 3 meals a day. No school fees. It is because of the poor leadership of the PF. Zambians must know that you cannot have school fees and 3 meals a day when you have poor leadership at the top. Oh, this is a disease of lack of vision in the PF. Oh, this is a disease of poor leadership in the PF. That's why children are not in school. That's why those who have completed school are not in employment. That's why you cannot have food. That's why you are walking to the hospital to see the sick. You need a leadership that understands business, that understands economy. Then we can generate investments. We can grow the economy. We can create jobs. We can create business opportunities. We cannot continue chasing our marketeers away from their trading places, breaking their stores every day. You're even using the army. The army is not supposed to be used to chase your own citizens who are earning a living. After all, they used to claim Lorenzo that HH akamtamfa market, akamfumya market. Naleba pusha, naleba, Atishan. Are you nalikuba funza? Sure me mukanza HH munzana ngakutamangiza market. Ate mwemeli wa PF wanatiuza. So ndani natamangiza watu market. Ni HH or ni PF, ni ba PF. You cannot be removing people from their sources of income. You don't give them alternative, you remove them. I want to say to the people who are being chased from streets, from trading places, whose market stores are being broken, don't lose hope, because we are there for you. We will make sure that you have trading places that are decent, that have water, that have toilets, and we will not just give you those things, proper trading places. We will give you credit, so that you can grow your businesses. I think there was another little comment from Hansel, who said, politicians disappear.
He wants you back on this platform. Okay.
Hansel, I want to confirm to you that for me, for us, when you give us office, which I know you will, as people of Zambia, God's will, courtesy of you, the voters, as long as nobody steals the votes and announces wrong results, as it happened in 2016, which we will never allow, we should never allow as a people, because we're now allowing these problems to perpetuate. HH will be coming to a radio, Lorenzo. Make a note today. When HH goes to State House, every 3 months, once every 3 months,
he talks to the nation.
HH will come here on an open line so that Hansel can talk to him. Charles Kakoma Charles Chawama can talk to him. Mulenga, Mulenga Wesu, Paul Mulenga in Kitwe Mkwai. Name Twakula Isaku, Kitwe Okoi, Chengelo. 2 hours, the president is sitting, listening to citizens, taking notes, and acting on those issues. That's the difference we bring. Because we will not be afraid of facing the people, because we are confident of what we're able to do. That is very important. I think we have answered those questions.
Quite
There was
all of
an
them.
issue of HH right, no jobs, ethnic discrimination. I talked about it earlier.
Yes.
You look at surnames, we will make sure we treat every Zambian equally in the job market, everywhere. HH has been assigned to, okay. HH is like saying, HH provides a signal, whatever he says, it happens. I'm glad people are monitoring that. But,
All right.
but we say it for good reason, so that we can alert people and we can avoid going into problems. We'll work, and I couldn't hear that. I think you try to understand. I couldn't understand.
All right, in about a minute now, since we're approaching 11 hours, how do you wrap up today's interaction with people that are listening into the program?
Lorenzo, first, I want to say to the people of Zambia this way, in summary. There are 3 stages that we've gone through in recent times. One is a stage where we were arguing that PF will deliver. PF will lower taxes. PF will create jobs. There will be more money in the pocket. We all arguing. That was the first stage. And I appreciate why people were arguing. Because vision is difficult. It's not an endowment that sits in everybody. In Bemba, Valanda, Dichimonwa, Charlie Afia. So stage 2, we are now in a position, Lorenzo, that we have stopped arguing. There are no jobs. The debt has increased. Corruption has increased. There is no business. They absolutely trouble everywhere. That's the second stage we are now. As a nation, we are now agreed that PF cannot take us out of these problems. So stage 3 is where I am closing with to say, let us now work together. Let us unite as a people. People of Zambia, tuombele chapamo. Tuachula pafla. Tabutika ngako. Sevenzere pamos. Unit of purpose, as we've done it before. Let's bring the country together. The 10 political parties that have come together have shown the way, but we want more to come. We want more civil service, civil society. We want the unions. Let's work together to develop this country. But we can't develop it without changing government. We should not be too shy to say PF has run its race. Let them rest. Let other people who are us and others take over so we can provide for education, health, agriculture, jobs, business opportunities. We'll lower the tax burden. We'll be able to reduce the cost of electricity, the cost of fuel, and then we can grow the economy and create more jobs and business opportunities. That is the story of us in the UPND and our alliance colleagues. That's the story that Zambia must now start listening to, and we work together. We can do it. Please do not be afraid. There's too much fear. You cannot succeed through fear. You cannot even do anything through fear. Let us remove the fear factor. I want to thank the people of Zambia for your support, for your encouragement. I want to say to you, better days are just around the corner. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I've been talking to the United Party for National Development President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. I would like to appreciate everyone that called in and sent in the text messages. Coming up is news, after which Lifestyle comes on with Chipo Chama. Stay tuned and God bless.